I like your backdrop, man. It looks good.
Yesterday, I thought I'd got it. I'm having a test and all that. I thought I'd got corona yesterday. All of a sudden, I went out West Brom. I came back yesterday. Menu sara kuch West Brom do hi hunda. Fuck, I never get ill. After West Brom. So I went out West Brom, come back, and all of a sudden I just felt tired, I thought I was going to get Bukhar. Started coughing a little bit. मैं जो कल दे 3-4 टेस्ट कराए, bitchy drive-through, bitchy lateral throw, and all of that. 3 different kits. They said,
wait, hold on. Let's record this. Yeah, let me just do the first introduction, and then we can.
What are you drinking?
What you got to drink there for? Are we allowed to drink?
Yeah.
Harjap, you're not right.
No, because I'm gonna have to talk about health and all that.
I'll be talking about alcohol. Hang on, let me just record this first.
We've been talking about alcohol, and you got a bottle of Cointreau there.
Red Stripe.
Okay, now. Are we allowed to swear?
Yeah, you can say anything you like.
Okay. Wait, in Punjabi as well?
Yeah.
Oh, Sachi, really?
Anything, man. Hang on.
Even in Punjabi?
You know,
you need to put a rating on it.
It's always explicit. Welcome to another episode of the Bandwagon Podcast, and today is the first Christmas edition that I'm doing with this whole platform. And who else can I get, really? Some of the guys who've cheered me up throughout this whole year on social media and anything else. I've had to go back to the original who I started number 1 with, which is Harjap, and then we have got Nicku from USR, proper top guy. So welcome.
Thank you.
I like that intro. I like that.
There you go, innit? So this one, I'm gonna have a bit of a festive drink as well. So whatever you want to do.
Sara saal tenu ho gaya kehinde nu sharab na piyo aap red stripe di bottle khodi ho.
I don't stop anybody from having it. This is back to my hands with roots in it. So we would have done this in person, but obviously with the conditions going on, you know how it is, isn't it?
Today as well.
Yeah, today is the highest rate of infection ever. So they're saying 76,000. So, and basically
78.
Yeah. So what he's saying is, what they're saying is, God, everybody don't go out, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, work from home.
From this stage, it's basically saying that it's very transmissible, highly transmissible. It's milder than the Delta variant studies are showing at this point. But obviously the amount of dosage and other comorbidity issues and the amount of people getting it at the same time, plus the unvaccinated population, is it going to be enough for the NHS to hold up? So they're predicting between 4,000 to 6,000 daily admissions into the NHS. If that overwhelms, then that's where we start getting the whole problems kicking in. So they're saying if you don't need to meet up, don't meet. So all those DJ Christmas meetups, you might want to put them on hold.
They'll hate each other anyway. But अंदरों का कहने से तू मेरा यार उधर मेरी ब्याह दी बुकिंग ले गया तू मेरे आटोल प्लेयरां दी बुकिंग ले गया
ਉਹ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਬਾਅਦ ਚ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਕੈਮਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ off the camera. Yeah, you know what, I think it was you actually, Ricky, the first person that shouted at me on social media because I put my viewpoints about coronavirus and lockdown and what I think about it, and you go, look, Nick, you've got to be careful about what you say online, because you use the word influencer. I don't use that for myself yet, but you said, look, even if there's a Sabanda following you or 100,000, you can still influence a person's decision, right? So you said, look, you got to be careful about what you write, because it's all black, it's all fake. And stuff for football.
Are you an anti-vaxxer? I hope you ain't.
No, I've got both of them. These are saying go for the third one. Look, I can't do it until Monday because I've got shows on the weekend. Do you know what
it was? The reason why I kicked off, like, at the beginning, we were doing stupid hours in my work, and it just started just getting everybody to just know what the hell's going on and just get everybody in a flow in it. And then the problem, what happened was, you know, all the kind of conspiracy theories at the time, which was 5G. You had people not putting masks on, Harjap doing his little videos, you know, with the cock out and shit. And then we had that one video where people like going, have haldi, you'll be fine, you know.
That's it. Some woman, and she was Amritari as well, and she did a video saying gatte khao and you won't get coronavirus. Sadde Southal cashin carry the thale sare gatte hi muk gaye lok gatte de bore chak ke. I don't know whether she was related to a supermarket geezer or something. But I tell you, there's a conspiracy there. We're in about a week. There's no gatte.
There's After they bought it, went like ridiculously priced as well. Yeah. But anyway, so what was going on was we were constantly fighting this wave of conspiracy. So I was getting really, really passionate about it, and like basically saying stop to, even in my own circles, like stop forwarding the stupid stuff out, because what you're doing is just causing panic for everyone. And then obviously online, I was just being the same. So anyone who's putting somewhere, I was like, do this. Then I realized to a point, I was actually giving up, because it was tiring, man. You can't keep it up. And then eventually you were at this point, because remember, it's uncharted. We've never been here before. And now people are like, you know, if you want to go and do that, that's up to you. But if you're going to make a choice, make an informed choice in it. Don't listen to all these algorithms that are telling you one thing. Just if you're going to make a decision, make it sensibly, whatever you're going to do.
Bro, base it on facts.
Yeah.
That's the key. Whatever you do, base it on facts.
Yeah.
And not hit and hoping. But insan, that's the way, Anna. We hit and hope a lot. And now, especially as I call it, like people have got degrees from WhatsApp University. So all they graduate both here. And they're like, you know, Mara, you go gal on the and for that, for me, it was like getting to me like, oh my God, man. Then I was like you, like, let's try and dispel the myths. And then I thought, keda move karunge. I'd be all day doing this, and people are gonna believe what they're gonna believe, and we see it now. Yeah. And like you know, so and COVID's gonna go away. It isn't going away. It's there today. Today is the worst it's ever been.
Yeah, it's gonna get in the next few weeks as well. So this is gonna come out a couple of days before Christmas. It's the Christmas week. So by then, when people listen to it, it might be ridiculously rates in terms of what they're predicting is like, you know, over 100,000 plus a day, not admissions, but regular testing. So it could be significantly higher than that as well. So if you want to get out any programs or not get anyone any presents, you got enough excuses now.
To be fair, I've got 2 weddings left for the year. I really hope that they're going to do a lockdown or change the rules and stuff, do it in January. Because
why?
He's not going to lock down before January. I'll tell you why. Yeah, he doesn't want to be the banda that cancelled Christmas twice, and especially after this party stuff all going out. It's ਸਾਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਘਰ ਬੈਠੋ ਆਪ ਸਾਰੇ ਪੀਜ਼ੇ ਤੇ ਵਾਈਨਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਖਾਂਦੇ ਸੀ ਨਾਲੇ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੱਫੀਆਂ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ.
Don't you think the public have lost that faith? And it's hard to restore that now, because how are you going to follow a leader that's breaking their own rules?
It's not that, you know, when you had Trump in it across the country, getting away with what he did, yeah, you know how you doing things and whatever. He's brought the tolerance level of what these politicians can get away with now.
Yeah.
And so now, as you're doing it, like people have already forgotten a little bit about the party and they just carry on the other thing. But Nicku, just advice here: don't worry about your wedding thing, right? All you need to do is just sit on Instagram and just watch everyone. You just watch the wedding on Instagram like we do. Everyone's weddings on Instagram. They only show the best bits anyway. So what are you not?
Obviously, I don't actually. I do 3 posts. One's set up. The first dance and a bit notched up. That's it. I want to show the rest of the wedding.
Yeah. No, but it's good. But you need to sell Instagram view like the party package, so you don't have to attend in it. It's COVID free. That's what
I'm looking. Money from it though.
I'm looking forward to Christmas Day when I don't have to see someone's wedding on Instagram. That's the
I thought weddings were going to become low key after COVID, but I think they've come back with even bigger than before. So people are like, no, that means either they haven't spent any money and they've saved up even more, or it means that they just want to say, right, because we've been delayed a year, I can't work that out, but you know, I had a feeling they were going to come back more than before, but I really hope that common sense would prevail, but it didn't.
To be fair, Harjap, I think this year, I mean, since we've kicked off in June the 26th, I think we had our first wedding after lockdown, and we've been on it every single week. Okay, what we're doing like 1 or 2 at the start when the dancing was not allowed. When July the 19th, I think, we had a Monday wedding the same day. So we moved it from the Sunday to the Monday, and there must have been about 400 people at the wedding, and I reckon about 350 people on the dance floor. They were like full blast, and we've been doing that every weekend up until we're still doing it. We've got a wedding every single weekend, and it's amazing. But going back to your point, most weddings have dropped their numbers. Either they've dropped it themselves, or people just aren't turning up because they're saying, you know, we're not going to take the risk with the elderly, etc. But otherwise, the quality of weddings is still there, if not better. People saying, we'll spend more on less people because it's more intimate and stuff. So there's 2 ways of it, really.
Are there still big turnouts? So Or have the elders stayed away? Have you seen because a lot of people, I haven't been to a lot of weddings, so I thought I'm not going to take mum and dad and
see, you know the way you just said that, I'm not going to take mum and dad. A lot of people have thought like that because at the start there was a lot of empty tables, and you know when you're paying caterers per head, and you're paying that regardless, right?
Even if you use one plate, you still got to pay for the 400 you booked.
You still got to pay for the bande because thought contract hoya and that's it done. Yeah, agla onda nahi biyate. That's not the caterer's fault. They've still been told to supply certain amount of saying that, but the thing is, it's harder for a DJ because it's a numbers game in it. The more people at a party, the more likely you're going to get a busy dance floor, right? And going back to that point, guys, on New Year's Eve, this guy's postponed his wedding, I think, 3 times, and the third day is now in New Year's Eve. And normally New Year's Eve, Christmas is my family time. But I asked the missus, she goes, look, Bajara, yeah, he's a nice guy, just do it. And so I'm going to do it.
And she said, we need the money, Nicku.
Yeah, no, the guy's got away with it 3 times. You take the hint in it now.
Sara saal bille
their numbers are dropped from 350 down to 240, right? And then he still has to pay the caterer the full amount. Now he's saying to me, he goes, look, if you want to bring your family, we got loads of time. My missus like to
I always find that a bit
what you doing? You should start. Look, everyone else is doing a dinner and dance to what they
True. I should do that. Let me just write that one down.
Yeah.
No, but each their own, and everyone's got their own way of thinking. A lot of cancellations, a lot of moved dates, up and there, and just general, people just gone ahead with the thing. So you know what? Everyone's got their own way of looking at it, Hannah.
From a lawyer's point of view, let me give a little advice to someone whose wedding has been postponed 3 times. That's God trying to give you a hint. And if you don't listen, well, God, give it a year, mate. We can have divorce parties.
1 second.
Hello.
That's good.
Yeah, obviously, and Harjap, you need us DJs to do the wedding for them to be problems if there's got to be problems for you.
Of course, I need it all. Even international DJs, because ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤੀਆਂ ਮੰਗਾਉਣੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ and all of that. So ਮੇਰੇ ਲਈ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਜੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਆ. Listen, party ਤੇ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ whether you're ਦੁਖੀ or ਸੁਖੀ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਆ.
I got a mate that we all know who a wedding hall. He goes, basically, they had it for like 100 people, like 300 people, and gave him the price. Then this is for 100 people. Then he goes, I ain't going to give you my hall for $2,000, am I? Because the way that they were the way that they will say it's going to be definitely going to be half the price. He goes,
downscaling it.
From that side, yeah. So it depends on what kind of industry you're coming from. Like the industry that's smashing it, Lady Sangeet.
Oh, yeah. I see.
Oh, God, they've come out of nowhere.
Well, I watch and I talked to her. She's been on the show, Dish. So she does a lot of from Ammo's campaign from the Chaos.
Yeah.
Right. And I know Ammo for a long time. He's a good lad. We sit down. We usually have a laugh. And but yeah, so I've seen him bring Dish into it, and he's a star and all of that. And I've seen Dish grow, but she is smashing it on the Lady Sangeet, smashing it. And then
she's doing really well. Yeah, she is, and she's good. She looks Ronicky as well. She looks like she's not just there to count the money. She's getting involved and she's having a good time herself.
Yeah, and she really gets into it. Yeah, and then I see Manny
Kaur as well. Yeah,
Lucky's wife, Takdees. So I see her getting there. Sonia Panasar in London with Sur Sangeet. They're doing it as well. So it's quite a niche. In fact, sometimes I felt, look, Apatolki, to be honest, Harjap, I would smash it at a Lady Sangeet. Because I can chat to all the Budiya and do all that juggling with them. I've grown up.
You'd love it.
I would smash it, mate. I would. In fact, this year I got offered, like just before COVID, the first time because they do this in Canada, I hosted a wedding in Canada. In
like an MC?
Montreal, yeah. Like MC. In Punjabi and England, MC means something else.
Yeah,
right. But when they say you want to be an MC, and I said no, definitely not. And I go, what's that, man? They go, you want to host our wedding? And I'm like, well, what's that got to do with being an MC? And they're like, no, you haven't understood. So yeah, I did that, and that's the only time I'll do it. It's my nephew's like wedding, and so I did that. But the weddings, how they do it there, they go on too long, man. Too many speeches and too that sort of stuff. We get straight down to it. But yeah, the market is definitely there. Like Deesh is smashing. Congratulations, man.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, 100%.
for like, you know, coming out of that and you know, doing songs as well, doing a lot of stuff, and as a woman, and
Yeah.
it's hard because, you know,
No,
we're
fair play to
typically
her.
male-dominated industry. So
Yeah.
but then we got to give it to a pioneer of that is also DJ Nav. So
Yeah,
she's always
she's really
smashed
good as
it.
well.
She's always smashed it. Yeah, and
Yeah,
she's
she
one of
has.
the
She's
only
done well.
DJs I see who takes a jutti off when she DJs.
See?
Yeah. So like, I see the DJ and I said, "Where's the jutti?" And she goes,
Doc, you do realize that there's someone else in here who takes their shoes off when they DJ, yeah?
What it is,
Yeah,
it's
they
just it's just comfortable. I don't know. I just prefer it. You know, fresh air come to your feet. It just
I've got my
makes me-
shoes off now.
You've also got something else on.
There's something else off. We know
as well.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got that. That's available on the. That's available on the exclusive.
You know what? I feel quite
Sides up.
fortunate, being in front of Harjap now, because every time I'm around him, I've never got one of these in my hand. And I thought tonight it's going to be like a podcast being recorded, man. I want to look presentable and all the rest of it.
That's what I thought. I thought
You put me off my beer.
I can put it down and get the other one. No,
the man whose alcohol awareness on the driving bottle. What do you are?
Fair play to you.
Festive, man.
Damn the other.
I teach him how to do it properly.
But you know, like going back to that point that you mentioned about Canada, and you said that like really long-winded, etc. Do you not find receptions in India just all about Sugan and a bit notched up, and then everyone disappears after maybe a bit of food?
Yeah, bro, that's all about money.
It's
Right, it's all about jere payo morkilane. Right,
Yeah,
so
it's too much. How does one enjoy their own wedding reception? The girl just looks down with a phone like this, yeah. The guy is obviously a little bit more open, but all they do is just sit down on those two chairs, and you've got crowds and crowds of people coming down them for a photo. And by the time they're ready to join the dance floor, it's like, Nicola, done.
no one enjoys their own wedding. So you know, people always enjoy other people's. Think of the best weddings you've been to. It's not been your own.
Yeah, but you know what? But you had more
I did.
Let's be honest.
I love my wedding.
Yeah, can I have a gun because your body's watching?
Yeah, no, she's outside the studio. She's there.
I think we're being honest.
No, fair play. Now, I think the UK weddings are the best. I'm not just saying that because we're from the UK. I just feel like
no. It's timing wise and whole system wise, they're the best. We split our stuff properly. We time manage. But to be fair, with places like Canada are about a generation behind, and and India, well, it's still India. But some weddings in India, you say that, Nicku. I've been to some weddings in India, and I remember I was at a wedding in India in Mumbai, yeah, and so we took a Gora with us. He's a personal trainer, and obviously, you know, so he went there and he goes, Harjap, there's a massive crowd over there, and I said, why? And there was just a stage, and someone was on there, and he goes, I said, what's happening? He goes, there's some bloke there, and he's going like this with his belt, yeah, and everyone's just like asking for his signature, and I thought, what? And everyone wants to take photos of him. I walked over. They'd only bloody hired Salman Khan to dance at a wedding. It was Salman Khan. I said, that's not some bloke. That's Salman Khan. You know, and he goes, how much is he going to get for that then? I said, probably about 300 or 400 grand, like pounds.
wow.
And he goes, and I go, what? Just for doing that? He goes, he's just standing there and moving. He's like going, and he's doing this debunga move. You know that one? Debung.
Oh, I thought it's all Johnny Gentleman. You know when he takes his top off.
No. With that, you have to take. He doesn't take it, mate. In 3 or 4 lakhs, 3 or 4 crore pay. You want his jug off as well. At Danny, you know. It's not us. Only us lot. Did he freely lalan there? Them weddings in Mumbai and all that, they are off the scale. Off the scale. And look at the dishes that they have. Even the Jalandhar weddings, there must be about 100 food dishes.
Yeah, stay away from the food. We know what happened with you and food in West Brom, Jackie potatoes.
Yeah, mate. Well, that's English food. Indian tiga.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but obviously that's more not mainstream, but like Delhi, Mumbai, they're different from Punjab. I mean, I mean, look, people say to me, like, I've DJed in India so many times. It's always in like Punjab, never like Delhi and anything like that. So people say to me, what the wedding? And I just say it's like a clara. Anything goes. There's no system. Jira gana chalda, ohi mar mar kittu se la jaao, bande be happy. Play a bit of Bubble Man, a bit of this Kharku tracks, and than his home time, and it's so easy. So easy. It's more of like just a day out, really.
Listen, and why don't they play India's DJ the whole song? Why don't they only play like 20 seconds of a song and then on to the next song?
Yeah, but the speed
haven't
of
you
it,
got Segal them anything?
the speed is like 200 miles per hour as well.
I know, yeah. And no clarity, there's no clarity in the track. It's just pure bass, pure treble, all the way to the blast. Yeah, but it's good. I love going to India. I don't think I'll be allowed back in India after all my anti-multi posts, but I do like going to India. I just think it's a wicked banter. It's like obviously our homeland. We've been going for so many years, and it has changed. It's not the same kind of love that you had back in the day, but it's a different kind of banter now. Not maybe because we've grown up, we're looking at things differently.
Everything's evolving though, Nicku, as well. Like obviously the market is like with social media, things are getting smaller. People can see other ideas, and they'll operate in a different way. You know, where they'll naturally gravitate where the money is. And you say Mumbai, and I see what Simon's been doing over there, and the types of wedding I could never. It doesn't make sense to me. But people want to spend. People want to spend money. It doesn't matter what arena it's in. They just want to just show off, and that's what it simply comes down. If you want to show off, they'll hire the best in and best.
Listen. You can spend millions on a wedding in India, yeah, but the etiquette there, after they've eaten a piece of chicken,
on the floor,
they throw the haddi under the table. They throw the haddi under the table as if that's a kure ali balti there. I feel sorry for all of them waiters or the marriage palace people at the end who have to clean that up.
I know.
Have you been to some of the pubs in here? They do the same.
Where you from?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, true.
Prince of Wales, Ricky, I'm at Prince of Wales.
No, man, not there. That's fine. When you go to some of the other ones, I'm like looking at it. He goes, it actually tastes better from the floor.
They got marinated ho gaya, badhiya.
It looks better on the way out. That's what it comes down to.
That's too much, man. That's too much.
So in terms of highlights, Nicku, the biggest things that you've learned in terms of this year from wedding industry, it's come back rip roaring. It feels a lot more aggressive than it did a few years ago. And people are. Do you find in terms of the competitions got harder?
I think, look, to put it this way, there's always two types of people that know who they want to book, and people are looking at how much they want to pay, right? So unfortunately, in our game, I'm not going to mention any names, but there's one certain DJ that keeps popping up every time, and he's known to be very, very cheap. But from my angle, what I'm looking at, I think his stuff looks really, really good, right? When I see it on social media and stuff, it looks really good, but then you have to value yourself for a certain level.
Nicku, hold on, mera ek sawal hai. What's cheap for a DJ?
We've had this conversation. He's going to cost me now.
No. What's average price and what's high end?
Like our average price is about 5.5 to about 8
grand. That is, yeah.
Yeah. But there's people that do what we're doing that say 8 grand for like 3.5 grand, and chucking the mossy in there as well on their foot, and they're just chucking so much in there. And for them, it's like, be honest, we're gonna charge on it. Why not? But then you're gonna have to have a value to what you're doing.
So is getting a DJ for 2 grand now? Them days gone.
You could probably still do it, and don't get me wrong, there'll be good DJs and there'll be nice people, but then look, if you're going to pay for a brand, not saying that we're the biggest out there, but we're doing a good job. The DJs that bigger than us, charging a lot more money, but we don't undercut, we don't look at people's prices, we're just doing our thing. But there's other one, they're looking at your price tags and say, oh, they're giving you that much, why do you want to go to them? We'll give you this times 2 or minus 2, you know what I mean, divide by 2 figures. And it's hard in that sense, because when they will follow that price as well, because it's been difficult in the last year and a half. But for us, it's like we're having fun with what we're doing. We're busy. And for us, like, I put up a status up the other day. You got to value your own brand, your own product and service. Don't play the busy fool. A bunda says, oh, you're busy. Yeah, I'm rammed. But that doesn't mean it's a good thing, right? You could be charging those £2,000 and your moss is taking half of it because she wants a bit of his side of it as well. You know what I mean? So it's one of those situations. You got to value yourself. And everyone's got their own way of looking at it. You know, you might own all your own equipment. We own all our equipment. Doesn't mean I'm going to start doing everything cheap because I've got no culture on it. You still have to value your time. And there's, oh yeah, I'm not going to.
Okay.
You know.
The Desi Kevin.
Ren, do you remember who this guy is? What's his surname? Close.
He's a Bandal. Actually, he's a Bandal. It's almost there.
I'm a Bangal. He's a Bangal.
He's a Bangal. He's a Pandal. Close. The spell's similar. But you need to go to sleep. Right, love you. Bye.
Sonja, कल तेरे तो वीडियो बनानी तेरे बुढ़े ने Sonja मेरे को
what is there? You know, like you just said something interesting before. You know, like more like you couldn't go to India and that. Do you worry in terms of like influence, in terms of the impacts on Ray Ray as well? Because obviously the kind of things that he posts about.
I don't care about the stuff that I post about with him. I think most of his banter is UK led. I know we've had a few conversations about when he's mentioned sharab or he's put the word jat in his storylines, etc. And there's different people. There's a lot of soft people out there at the end of the day, you know, like these are my kids. I'm going to try to teach them the best way I can, how I've been brought up. And I don't think I'm doing anything bad by making these funny videos or putting a funny message in. Like when I was promoting Free Palestine, for example, I had messages saying, can you say this about this person? Can you talk about Bindarawala? Can you do? And it's like, I don't want to make it political. If I want to do something, I'll do it, right? And I'm only going to teach them what I know. And to be fair, it's worked. It's made a lot of people around the world smile, and it's just a positive vibe. And if someone's going to get upset about the fact that there's a bottle of Jot Life in the background, or there's a bottle of Chivas, or there's a Nike on.
Oh, it sounds like you've had some people onto you.
I have, and I actually actively spoke about it on social media because it did bug me at that point. Because it didn't take long to make this video. Like I made a video yesterday. He shot it in 4 minutes. It takes me about an hour to edit this out. So I'm not spending a lot of time. But the thing is, it's still time that I'm putting in, whether it's 10 minutes or 2 weeks. We still put it. And you want it to be a positive kind of touch. You want to make people smile. You want to make people laugh or get away from the negatives in life and stuff. And for someone just to sit in their bedroom, or wherever they sit and write, oh, you shouldn't have done this. Why did you do this? He's only a kid. I'm only gonna. No, he's my kid. I know what's best for him, innit? And I tell the kids, like, if I show you this room, every single toy you can imagine, that we've taken so many holidays, but the most important thing is they get told that we love them a million times a day. They get cuddles, they get kisses from not just me, wife, not his sister, because they hate each other because they're at that age, but Bibi, Baba, Tai, everyone. And I think that's the most important thing. And Agla Banda, they don't know what happened in your household. So at that point, I was pissed off, I was upset, I was frustrated, I was disappointed, all sorts of emotions at the same time. But you can't please everyone at the same time. I mean, as long as the majority are happy, and I know from my heart I didn't do anything bad, and that's the bottom line.
And how petty did it actually get?
We actually got a letter from, I can't remember the actual some kind of high level regulatory board saying
social services.
We've had 7 official complaints, and I was like, on what basis? And there's 4 points. 1, he used profanity. So he used the word kutta, which I don't see that as profanity. So 2, you're promoting Jat, which I wasn't. 3, he's got sharab. And 4, he was driving a car. And people don't realize that he's 4 or 5 at that point. He can't drive.
You know, with the whole, like you said, Jat Life scandal thing and all that. And yeah, I had that too as well, from a certain organization, try to say, you promote Jat Life. And I said, it's just a branding. Yeah. It's just a branding. Yeah. That's like saying, if someone drinks Raj beer or uses Imperial leather, am I promoting the British Empire?
Yeah.
It's Imperial. Yeah. Or am I promoting stormtroopers? Yeah. Or am I promoting the British Raj? It's a branding, it's a gimmick. And with that, you just have to understand, if they're promoting a certain sort of thing, they're not saying anyone else is bad. Everyone should be proud of whatever backgrounds they're from. It's irrelevant what background you're from. What matters is where you are now. Yeah. And what you're doing now. Yeah. And what your background, in today's day and age, shouldn't and doesn't, I don't think, play that much as a thing. I when dealing with people, I don't look at their caste or religion or anything like that. And I'm sure you lot don't either. Yeah. And so then to make you out to be, oh, well, actually you're a casteist and you're this and all that. And actually all my posts have been, I'm very sort of anti-casteist. Yeah. So I'm very anti-casteist. I'm very anti that sort. My view has always been, we've got to change our culture. We've got to change the mindset. And that takes ages to do. So I always speak about the shit no one wants to speak to. I speak about the child abuse, about sexual abuse, domestic violence, and stuff like that. And I'm glad I do. And I don't expect to be loved for it. Yeah, and I don't expect you to be loved for what you do either. I'll tell you what messages you probably get, and we've never spoken about this. I bet you get, why are you subjecting your kid to so much pressure on social media?
Yeah.
You're not good parents. How's he going to grow up and all of that? Yeah, you're putting pressures on him, expectancies on him. Yeah, he needs to stay away from social media. Let him find himself. You're molding his career. You're doing blah blah blah. You probably get all of that stuff, right?
It's him sending the messages.
Yeah, they're all from me.
That same organization that was sending you.
Right. So despite me and you have probably got two different trains of thoughts. Yeah. I've never put a picture of my kids or my wife on social media. That's because we've got an agreement that my wife says you are in the public eye everywhere. You get recognized everywhere. And I see you don't have 2 minutes of time. And even if you do have 2 minutes of time, you have to give it for others when somebody else comes. Yeah. And you have to then stay away from us. She goes, I don't want my kids to grow up with that, and I don't want my kids to have that. And I sort of agree to that as well. There needs to be a balance in my sort of life. So if I'm out there all the time, I can't go to a kabaddi tournament without being mobbed. That's why I stopped going to kabaddi tournaments. I go to a Diljit concert, and I'm the second most selfied banda apart from Diljit.
That's where he gets his business. To be fair. That's where he gets his business from.
Right. Well, not with the passports now.
Concerts.
Yeah. So, I do understand that bit. Yeah, but so everyone's got their own different views.
Yeah.
With that, but then for someone to impose their views on others and enter your private space, right, and then say stuff, I find that a bit. I think
I don't get those messages, even though people might be thinking it, but I don't really care like that in that sense. Yeah. But I know that I wouldn't put pressure. The moment he says to me, Daddy, I don't enjoy it, we'll stop it. Yeah. But at the moment, we're having fun. We're having loads of fun. It doesn't take them that long. But at the same time, the kids are going to grammar school now. And the pressure against the state school, what they're going through at the moment. Yeah. Am I bad for sending them to grammar school now? Because naturally, they got a lot more pressure on their heads to say, look, your days are longer. You need to do this amount of homework. You've got this pressure doing that. You need to learn this by this date. The pressure from that school is different as well. So at the end of the day, look, me as a parent, I'm going to try to do the best that I can. And this is something that we enjoy. It's a bit of banter. And it's something positive. We'll look back later in life and we're like, shit, remember when we did that video? Or remember this happened? And so far, so good, to be fair. And the moment that it does go a bit wild and crazy,
or you feel uncomfortable. Yeah, you can just pull it off.
At the end of the day, this isn't, he's making money from it, and it's never been a monetary thing. I've had that message before. You're monetizing
your kids,
yeah.
Exploiting them.
Because you want money. And I'm like, I don't need that money. If he earns, it's like me sending the kid to do a paper round. If he's earning it, that's his money. But at the same time, he doesn't need to, or my daughter doesn't need to. I earn. That's my job to feed the kids and bath them and put home over a roof over their heads and stuff. This is just bonus. If he's earning it, I'm not going to say no to that. Enjoy. Yeah, I mean, well, obviously he doesn't spend it because we keep it in the bank for him. But it's
the bank at the pub. No, but do you feel like? No, I was going to say, because like in fairness, right? In fairness, just to in terms of discussion. He's kind of the first kind of desi opera child star in some aspect from social media, from how long social media has gone. I don't know anybody on the equivalent, so you're in kind of uncharted territory. You've seen it in different industries in terms of where it is. So there isn't really a blueprint for you to follow in that way, apart from your own kind of knowledge and your own parenting skills, because everyone's got good parenting skills, everyone's got bad parenting skills. But like, you're in really uncharted territory in what you're doing here now, isn't it? There is that additional kind of pressure and eyes that people are looking at you.
You know what? The only pressure I do sometimes feel, guys, is, being a creative content writer, writing scripts. That's probably the only thing that I would personally have pressure on myself, because I feel like, I want to make a video about this, how should I script it and stuff like that, or what should the next video be? Even though it's not important, it's just a social media page for people who come to you as a happy place. But I'm the one that feels that pressure. He doesn't. I don't make him sit there thinking. I said to him, Wayne, if you was to make a video, what would you write about? How would you do it? He goes, Daddy, what about if I'm walking down and there's a banana peel on the floor and I fall over it? And that's his idea of a script. You know what I mean? I said, Wayne, that's cute, but it's not going to it's not going to be that funny, if that makes sense. And but he doesn't really get involved with that sense. I just tell him what the video is about, and that's it. But I think, look, the day that he feels pressure, I wouldn't want to put extra pressure on the kid. It's just a bit of fun. That takes him, like I said yesterday, it took him 4 minutes to do a script. It's fast, man. And he's always been a bit of a Ronicky kid. So was I as a kid, to be fair. Like when I was probably not his age, we was quite shy around his age. But as we got older, I got quite confident, and I was quite Ronicky, and I'll go to parties and mingle and dance and all the rest of it and stuff. But he's always had this little knack about him, like even before this social media. I mean, it's only the reason we started this is because lockdown. Otherwise, I would never done it. It's not like I planned one day. I'm
quite disappointed actually, Nicku. Like, you need to do the Home Alone remake of a couple of scenes. He's at that age that he will fit it perfectly. So
do you remember what happened to Macaulay Culkin as he grew up?
Yeah, but his brother was all right.
Who's his brother?
See, you don't even know him. He's an actor. He's fine.
Never heard of him. Never heard of him, mate. So
his brother in Home Alone is the guy who pisses himself. You know, the little kid who threatens to wet the bed. That's his Sakapra.
Oh, but then you got to look at it. Macaulay Culkin hit a different level of fame and success.
Oh, I'm not saying to go all that way. I'm saying about a little skit. Like throwing the stuff down the stairs and all that. You know what I mean?
We'll do it at your house and Ricky, because I remember how much gund was caused on the Clara from that scene.
Listen, between us three here, you two have definitely got a bigger house than mine. Harjap is killing it, man. Look at the amount of videos he's been on. He's smashing Clause 9 at the moment. He's on some PRS somewhere down the line.
Yeah. The only thing I've grown in, I've got more of his racists on my timeline, man. Telling me to go back home. Oh, mate, my Twitter timeline, when I go on GB News, my Twitter timeline is just a cesspit of hate of how I get people saying, go back, you're not one of us. Why do you want to bring people of your own color back in? And it's like being in the 1970s and 80s.
Harjap, just for the people who don't know, because this thing is bigger than obviously how we give it the kind of space what it needs as well, which is Clause 9. Can you just tell us a little bit about it, what it's about, and then eventually what can we do about it realistically?
It means if you be a naughty boy, Ricky, despite the fact that you're born and bred here and haven't been born in India and probably haven't lived there, then they can put you in jail and without notice, this is the key, say to you, you know what, your mum and dad are born elsewhere, you're not British anymore. So you could be, and they've got, all right, if you're a naughty boy, you deserve to be punished, yeah? But if you're a Gora and you're a naughty boy and you kill your, let's say you're Gora and you can kill your 6-year-old son, as someone has done recently, yeah? They will get jail for it. But they won't ever say you're not British anymore, yeah? With us, we'll get jailed for it and they'll say you're not British anymore. You've got to live in India because you're eligible for an Indian passport. Now, because our parents are all born in India, we are eligible for Indian passport. So technically, we could give up our British passport tomorrow with our own marzi and get an Indian passport if we wanted. And the Indian government won't say no to it. Yeah, this is how we get our OCIs as well. Just on that basis that we are eligible, not that they've been accepted or not, or you've ever held one before, they can now strip you without notice and you would have to appeal from abroad. So you could be in India supporting the farmers. Yeah. And one of the reasons they can strip you has been called you're against or hurting diplomatic relations. So if you're in India supporting the farmers or you are protesting against the amount of rapes they have in India, I think it's every hour there's about 40 rapes, yeah? Or you're protesting against the Saudis and the way they treat their migrant workers, yeah? You could then do that, get a plane back at the airport and they'd say, sorry, you're not a British citizen anymore. You'd be lumbered in limbo and then they'd say, fight your appeal from abroad. Like Shamima is doing, like they're saying to her that you're a Bengali. And she's saying, well, I'm not born there. I've never had a Bengali passport. And so her argument is, if you're going to send me to jail, call me to England and send me to jail there. They're saying to her, no, apatanu barnai, tu British hi nahi. Now, what that does to people like you and me, our lovely coloured faces, and our friends who are with darker faces than us, it says to you that your citizenship is lower than your friend Barry, who you went to school with, and who was born here to white parents and white grandparents, and that we got a second-class citizenship. right? So that's the danger of this, that we've become second-class citizens. It hangs a sword over your head to say you can't be vocal because we're going to get rid of you under diplomatic relations. You got to toe in line. It's almost like telling the Indians, the Gore telling the Indians back in the days, toe the line, otherwise something bad or somebody going to get hurt real bad, as Peter says, right? And that's what it is. But my argument is, and our argument is, well, I'm born and bred here, and before 1983, if you're born in the UK, you're British by birth, not by descent, by birth. How have you changed that nationality into now a second-class nationality? My British citizenship is a right. It's not a privilege. Yeah, it was earned by my mum and dad coming here, working their nuts off in foundries, doing all the shitty jobs in the bakeries and in the Dartford tunnels and all of that, you know, in the block factories and cement factories, doing all the jobs that perhaps the Gore didn't want to do. Yeah, working on the production lines. Yeah, earning their citizenship. Yeah, but now you're telling them that we can send you back. Yeah, if you raise your voice against diplomatic relations. Dada India, like Nicku said, he's worried about going back in India. I'll tell you what's happened to me. Yeah, and I'm not just doing it because of me. During the farmers' protests after I did the whole Kisans in Need thing, and I was the face of that and the front of that and everything. And my tweets, you know, my tweets against Modi, a lot of them went mega viral. Yeah, so I'm talking like 10, 20,000, 30,000, right? So, like, I had a phone call from Delhi saying, you have got to tone things down. And I said, what? And they said, yeah, you've got to tone things down. Otherwise, there could be problems for you. Luckily, I got some friends in the Indian High Commission and they verified it and said, yeah, that's the message. And I deal with the embassy every day, Indian embassy. Passport visa. So I haven't been back since. And you're right, Nicku, because if we go back and the Indian government said, you know what, they chuck you, we could end up in a jaggi situation.
Yeah? Exactly.
Right. Yeah. My kids are 4 and 9. I don't want to be incarcerated in an Indian jail on false charges for 5-6 years. Even if they let you off after 20 years that you're innocent, you don't get your years back, right?
No.
Right. So, and I've got a business in India. I've got an office in there since 2003. So the only way I'm going to go back in India now is I'm going to have to push all my contacts now right up to the top level at Samudi level and get some sort of clearance before I go back. And I'm not the only one who's got messages like this. Jazzy B. Yeah, I would, you know, I'm not going to India before Jazzy B does. That's my sort of marker. If he goes and comes back scot-free, then I'm all right. He's another one who was labeled Khalistani, anti-national and all of that, yeah. There's a few others who are there, who are labeled there. The ones who are there, obviously, they're just waiting for them to go. So, you know, there's a doctor there, Swayman. He's there, right? They can't say anything to him. He's surrounded, you know, he's quite well protected. But people like me and you, mate, if we get lifted at the airport, there's no way back.
Do you think a lot of these Punjabi singers from India, and this is the reason why they're staying quiet? I know Jazzy B was quite vocal, but the likes of Omri Virk, he hasn't really done nothing considering the scale and the level he's at. You know what I mean? And even Daljit, he was at the start kicking off with Gangana on social media and stuff like that. But do you think they're scared where they're based at the moment? Because
anyone who's got a business and has even tweeted about it once has put their business on the line. So with Daljit, a lot of people say, oh, Daljit doesn't do anything now. Mate, Daljit's in Bollywood. He went against Bollywood. Yeah. And you've got to understand, India is a country, at the height of Hindu supremacy. It's going the way of Trump is. Trump, Boris, and Modi, they play from the same playbook. It's the same thing. Appeal to nationalism. It's all about Mera Bharat, Hindustan, right? If you're Hindustan, what's that saying for the rest of us? Right. So this is the key, right? That they're going down that way. If you say anything against it, you're anti-national. Yeah. Anything that their guys do, they get covered up. And do I want to risk and take it there? You got to remember, bro, we ain't Indian. Don't matter what you say. Your passport is British. You got a British birth certificate. You got a British marriage certificate. Your kids have got British birth certificates. Yeah. You might have an OCI. It doesn't make you Indian.
Yeah.
Right. You get stuck out there. we've already seen how much help the British government does. There's that woman who's been stuck in that Arabian country for ages, Nazneen, as the journalist who Boris effed over. And Juggy's been stuck there for how many years? And they can't even decide whether they're going to charge him or not.
Yeah.
Right. And do we want to take the risk? This is where the whole identity thing comes in. This is the whole thing against Clause 9. So I could be in India in jail and a British could turn around and say, you're not a British citizen anymore. What does that make me?
Yeah, you'll be fucked.
Yeah, you are literally then fucked, yeah? And if we let this Clause 9 go through, then there's potentially, it's there to be used. Do you trust this government who deported all of them Jamaicans who were bucket here in the Windrush? Bro, I read a case the other day. They deported a man under Windrush. Yeah, he fought to get back. They said, koi gal nahi, le aane, bechara mar gaya utthe. So, and he spent 40, 50 years here in the UK, came with his mum when he was about 2.
So realistically, so it's been passed in Parliament now, and it's at House of Lords, and House of Lords has 3 attempts in terms of kind of ratifying it, right? Yeah. Because by the 3rd attempt they always have to accept what's in there because of through passing. I remember that from my politics degree.
Well done, well remembered.
We got it's 280,000 people who've signed it at this point.
Yeah.
So in terms of actual kind of progress, what's the next steps? Will it be heard in Parliament soon? Have we got a date for that? In terms
there will be a debate on it in Parliament, I think, and there already was a debate on it. However, it all depends. Boris has got an 80 majority. Yeah, he can push anything through. We've seen that with the COVID passports and all of that they've done recently. He can push anything through. What this bill relied on was a lot of Tory backbenchers standing up and saying, we're voting against it. And Sharm Ali Galea, that Preeti, Rishi Sunak, Alok Sharma, all the Tory MP brown faces, they didn't vote against this bill. There were a few Gore that voted against it. The US government has said that this is a wrong move to do. The US government is the toughest on immigration. We know that.
Yeah.
They've said when you start stripping citizens of your nationals of their citizenship, it's a dark path to go down. They've actually said it's not a good move. And the thing is now we got to rely on the House of Lords, but it is potentially dangerous. We could end up with a Windrush happened, and huge. You could end up in India. You could end up on false charges in India. There'd be no one to help you. You're not an Indian citizen, and you're not a British citizen. Where are you going to go? And your kids will be stuck here, roaring for their dad. So the key is everyone who says, "Oh no, I'm not scared, man. Right? Let me tell you, they need to be scared." The other thing is props to Jazzy B. Props to him, man, because he laid everything on the line. Oh, they can show on this India.
I know, yeah.
You know how busy Jazzy B was in, right? And because he doesn't charge like the stupid money that a lot of other people charge. He was very well booked.
Yeah.
And there's no other artist, modern day artist, who's had as many hits as Jazzy B. Maybe Miss Pooja has. But
I would actually go as far as saying that Jazzy B to this day is probably the best performer that we've had alongside us. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like people are Ranjit Bawa with the stage, Bob the way, has a wicked singer and good stage. But that's probably one person I can name. They put the hand in the pocket, they're done. Jazzy B, you can see the steam coming off his face. So at this age, 2 generations, 2 decades of being in the industry or 3, I don't know what it is, but the guys
Jazzy B started out when I was first at uni, in my first year of uni, right, 1993.
He saw Harjap in my daytimers.
Bro, I used to see him everywhere. We used to follow him everywhere, like when London Opatola was out.
Yeah.
Right, and from then he's done 3 generations.
Yeah,
he must be 50 plus.
He did my wedding.
And Fermi, he taps better than 20-year-olds.
The best.
Yeah.
Right.
I've got a show with him next year with him, and he's still booked. Don't get me wrong, in the UK, obviously. Yeah.
But even Diljit, does he get nigga Kushniki, Jojo Via, right? I think for him to take a panga against Bollywood, and that's his bread and butter, and he's got some big films there. Remember, he's acting opposite the likes of Akshay Kumar, all of these guys, Ajay Devgan and all of that. Like, oh, we Punjabi, yeah. Akshay Kumar, Ajay Devgan. Unhone to kuch nahi kiya. Hai na?
And Tarminder.
Right? Well, Tarminder did, to be fair, but by that time he'd had so much flack that no one really wanted to listen to what he got to say. But Sunny Deol, right, for an example, we had that. Obviously, politicians in India are going to say that. Do you know what Indians feel? They feel because you're an outsider, you've got different citizenship, you don't have a right to meddle in our affairs.
Yeah.
But I always say this is internal matter. Internal matter, yeah. So that's the way they view us. Yeah. Sadi kisi ne nahi madad karni. But I think props to anyone who did anything. Even anyone in the UK, even if you did one tweet on it, props to you. At least you made a stand. But there were people who tried to exploit the situation. People tried to become heroes out of it.
Yeah.
And there was people who were pushing their own brands for their products out of it. And people who didn't have anything to do with the whole farming thing or any background or whatever. But a lot of people saw through that.
But I think, going back to your point about Priti Patel, I don't know much about her background and stuff, but isn't her parents immigrants as well?
Boris Johnson himself is eligible for this.
Yeah, he's born in New York.
He was born in New York. What it was, I was listening to your Twitter space and I was there. I listened to it as well, so it was, it's really informative in terms of what you were saying. I think where we're at now is in terms of, I haven't seen a successful outcome of any petition. We get sent about 50 a day on everything. So I'm like thinking in terms of like, what's the real solution in terms of like saying to get the voices heard? Is it just as simple as writing to your MP to say, be aware of this, make your attention of this, or whatever it is?
Yeah. First thing is write to the MP. Yeah. The second thing is write to your Lord. Write to any Lord. Yeah. So a lot of Lords have indicated that they're going to try and have a pop at it, especially the Green Party Lords, right? So they said, we're going to have a stand for it, right? So write to your Lords. The other thing is we might have to do a protest, might have to do a farmer-style protest outside the Home Office or outside Number 10 or something like that. We
shouldn't need to though, yeah, it's crazy.
Right. We need to do something on that because the Kalli petition ain't going to do nothing. Bro, there was 16 million signatures, yeah, on the petition to cancel Brexit. And there's another petition for 6 million signatures. They didn't Brexit cancel. Well, no, petition, I don't think will achieve a lot in this respect. Yeah. When you've got a government adamant on it and a majority. We might have to go take to the streets, do a protest, and that'll, sort of
they might cancel that.
Let's not forget, Boris was married to a half Sikh lady.
Yeah.
Right, Marina Wheeler. So his wife, all right, he cheated on her after she had cancer, which goes to show what type of banda he is. But so but he does have relatives who are Asian, whether they're ex-in-laws or ex-Paibans or. So we need to sort of go to this. And Boris has got a soft spot for sort of Asians. But the irony is, it's the bloody British Asians like Priti Patel who are out there. And Rishita chup karke baitha hai, and he's a Punjabi. He's waiting
to be Prime Minister.
So is Priti. So they're going to have a proper bam bra fight there, aren't they? This is the sort of fear it's going to create. I don't want to grow up in a society like that, man.
Nah.
I don't want to grow up like that. Eda matlab kal nu koi racist thanu gal kabe, we can't owe back at them. Because
do you remember waking up that morning to find out that Brexit had passed or Donald Trump was in power? How did you felt? You thought, it was horrible. You felt.
All I remember was there was this old Gora on TV. He had no teeth and he was drunk and he had a English flag on and he kept saying, "We got our country back. We got our country back." He probably spells country with a K, right? Right, but so this is what he was saying, and I thought this is exactly the same people that I grew up with in the 1980s, and in that sort of time. I was the only Asian in my school, whole secondary school. Yeah, so that's different from you guys because you had like a lot of Asians. My wife's from Handsworth, and like when I told her that, she was like, "What?" And I said, yeah. And I said, I bet your teachers were Asian as well. She goes, they were actually. I said, I was the only Asian. I said, I grew up with being called a Paki every week, bro. Nearly every day. Every day. I got attacked once because I was Indian. I got attacked go back to where you come from. Do your mum and dad own a corner shop? Have you got 7, 8 brothers and sisters? That was everyday questions, bro. Everyday questions. The only time I really properly met Desis was when I went uni. And I've never seen a Gora since. And I'm happy for that. and the first guys I met, Desi guys I met at uni, much pot gabarus, permed hair, much foot gabarus. Guess where they were from? Wolverhampton. And I looked at them and I thought, this is where I belong.
Dudley Road.
He started looking for the office.
This is my brethren. This is my, like my Danny here. The Wolverhampton boys with the big mucha.
Yeah.
And one going, the
kabaddi tournaments.
They were probably my family. I don't know. Actually, none of my family were at uni, but no, that must have been difficult though, because like now that we've got kids, how horrible as a parent does it feel that your kid is going to school and getting bullied? Now, for your parents, they probably just went to the nearest school near to your house because they didn't look at Ofsted reports and stuff like that. And then you went to that school, and then did they know that you was going through difficulties and issues and stuff at school?
Bro, we didn't have a choice. I don't think you had a choice. Are you going to tell your dad name? My dad actually looked for schools which are good, and they were all Gore schools because that's where I lived. I lived in that village in Essex.
Okay, all right, okay.
I'm born and bred in Romford. I'm not from Southall. I only moved here about 15 years ago. But yeah, I'm born and bred in Essex. So we was in a bend. There was only 10, 15 Asian families there, and about 10 of them were from the same bend. So that's how it was for us. It was a very sort of it was a very difficult experience and a very difficult. And I wouldn't wish that on my kids.
How would you deal with it though? God forbid it ever happens though, as a parent now, because school's a scary place. I don't know what. Like when I was growing up, I saw bits and bobs, but in my year was like Musalman, Kale, Chinne, Sikhs was actually the lowest of, in terms of numbers and stuff. But everyone just got along because it's very, everyone just got along. If you have a fight with someone, it's because you didn't like that one, and not because of their, their faith is this or their background's that. But as a parent, like my kids are both really soft. My daughter and my son, they're both really soft. And I feel kind of scared, because they're not the type to be able to. I was quite a soft kid as well. I still am, to be fair. But then how would you deal with it as a parent, though? Because that must have been horrible for your parents to know that the kid is being called a packy every day. Or
well, I didn't let my parents know. We had a racist live about 3 doors away from us. And he used to bully me and call me names. And every day as I walked past school and walked back. And to be honest, what can you do? What were my parents going to do? We were surrounded all by Gore. And even in school, I was surrounded all by Gore. My kids now, they go to Nishkam here in Osterley in Brentford near my office, right? But so for them, it's the other way around. I also want them to interact with other minorities, but now it's all happening in there. Yeah. So then, so what do I do? But I've taught my kids, look, if someone says that's wrong, hit back. If someone hits you, you hit them back.
But it's a different mentality. Like, for example, when I drop my kids off to school, I pick them up. Like when I was going year 7 at school, I was catching like a bus going past 3 schools, and you had to become streetwise. You had to understand that you don't need to sit upstairs on the bus at the back. You're gonna get battered. Yeah. Sit down sit downstairs and become more street cred and have that kind of knowledge within there. I think what's happened is it's the kind of Joe Rogan phrase, which is the hard times make hard people, soft times make soft people. You know what I mean? And so that next generation, we've given them all the creature comforts. You're talking about toys. I do exactly the same. You probably do the same, Harjap. They get everything, but at the cost of not actually going through struggle and learning about those struggles are the things that people, those people who successfully make it through are the reason that gives people their drive in their careers, to make sure the ambition to get there, to give those kind of lessons. But we try and protect our kids from them not going through that. And that is ultimately the cost, where they don't know technically how to deal with some situations. Like my kids go to a school here, a majority of it it's in a very nice area. And trying to get to integrate with different communities. Like they don't see color or anything like the way that we were. Like at school, we had this is the opera crew, they stick here. Then you had different crews around, and they very rarely integrate because the same crew would catch the same bus. And then you'd get picked off as they slowly get off there. And I was traveling from Lordswood to Handsworth. So I was going past, a lot of different difficult areas to get home. Then it was a 10-minute walk to get home. And then you got to navigate through the natives there. So what I mean? So every day was a challenge that potentially a challenge. And if you're 7, you're 11, 12 years old, like you wouldn't let your 11-year-old out now at this time. You know, think about it this way. When we used to go to school, there used to be stray dogs. Yeah. When's the last time you seen a stray dog?
Yeah.
Apart from Facebook saying they've all been killed.
Yeah. The world's changed. The world's changed.
On the stray bandera. Yeah. So yeah, I totally like sort of that I understand, and that's where like when my missus came down to like when we came to move to Southall, I drove past a park once, and I was looking for a house, and I said to my missus, "Where's the schools around here?" She goes, "There's one there." And I said, "Where are the white kids?" And she goes, "There's none here, mate." And I said, "What about you when you're Handsworth and all that? Where you're from?" She goes, "Nah, there wasn't much there either." So, you know, my friends growing up to the age of 18, my best friends were all white people, but a lot of them, unfortunately, harbored sort of racist views. And for me, that was just part of normal of it. And hence, you know, it's just part of the times. Now, when Brexit happened, which is where this whole topic started from, I just saw bits of that coming back, and I thought, "Fuck, man, I don't want my kids to grow up."
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and we see it now. There's you can tell the tension there. The racists feel now that it's okay to call us Pakis and to call it the N-word and all of that. They think it's all right now because 52% of us voted for it.
I know.
Yeah, they think it's all right to do that, and for that, that's just a sad sort of thing, really.
But the only combat was like back in the, let's say your neighbor would have got away with it because he's like 3 doors down. Now with the power of social media, you're seeing people getting caught for anything now. People getting just called out straight away. That accountability is there. It's faster, and I think that will. We don't know how social media is going to go in the future. Like 10 years ago, you didn't know what a tweet would do, like it destroyed careers. And now look at it. You know, like some lady just got done now, didn't she? She got locked up for it with the bouncer. Yeah,
that was outside the Weatherspoons on Broad Street, right?
Yeah. So like now you think about all the life Karabogi or the way that you know your little clip life like yeah, that's it.
But you know you're right. But I think we've got to bring it back to one thing which someone tells me, and I remind myself, there's more good people out there than bad, and the good are in the majority. So where you get white people being racist, you also get white people protecting you. It's the same white people from the same families who come and protect you, and they come and protect you. They come out, support you into it. It just shows you what sort of sangat you hang around with. If you hang around with good people, if you're good, you'll attract good people. If you have negative thoughts and negative sort of stuff, you'll gravitate towards them. You know, so I keep my timelines like that. Even my TikTok, I don't click on all the fuddu stuff, as I like to call it, all the bakwas pictures of auntie doing a dance or bande swearing, or or like people putting kursiyan on their head and all of that sort of stuff, or I don't click on that. I just use my TikTok purely for informational videos.
Yeah.
And I use it for watching old Hindi songs. Like, so, like the 70s, 80s, and 90s ones, the best ones on TikTok. Then you hear the clip, and then you go onto YouTube and find it, and you download it off Apple Music, and then you think, yeah, I've got the song. I found this. I found so many songs that I didn't know. I remembered from my childhood, but I didn't remember the titles or the names, or they were called something else. And I found them all via TikTok. So, all the dialogues, the old Raj Kumar dialogues, Amrish Puri dialogues, Danny dialogues, them sort of films, TikTok is wicked for that. But when I look at the people with the biggest followers, it's TikTok makes stupid people famous, and that's what it's done. And like, so with that,
I don't get it, man. I genuinely don't get it.
Well, we could do it now. We could do an experiment. We could do an experiment. Yeah, we could do an experiment. Let's do an experiment. If you stand up in your rooms and film yourself with just your kacha on, singing, dancing to lungi dance, I guarantee you'll end up with more followers than me by tomorrow morning, and you get more views, and it'll be viral. Now this is
that one's for you, right?
I listen. I don't even want to look at my own body. Let someone else see.
But here's the key. Yeah, there's a difference between being famous and infamous. Just in Punjabi, we call it. There's a difference between being namwar and badnaam. Yeah, what people who might be popular on TikTok, they're popular for the wrong things. They're infamous. They're not famous, yeah. So they're infamous for the wrong things, yeah. And that's a big difference. And if you come from a respectable background, you know the difference between that. I wouldn't want to do anything that brings disrespect or shame upon my kids. Where my kids tomorrow after that, oh, your Buddha did this, or here's your photo, or here's a picture of your Buddha doing this, tera Buddha ta pagal, or your mum's pagal, or whatever. Why would we do that? We spend our whole life protecting our kids from badnami, like our parents protected us from badnami, yeah, and not go down that sort of path. Then why would we do that? For me, that's the difference between being famous and infamous. There's no harm in being famous. Just make sure you're not infamous.
Do you know, like what you said there? Somebody that is very talented, singing wise or dancing wise or whatever, will get less followers and less likes than a girl with certain features on display and certain makeup and certain hairstyles, just posing, doing nothing.
And then talking about mental health.
Right?
And then talking about mental health.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So, unfortunately, that's the day and age we live in.
But that's the system, isn't it? The system rewards ridiculousness.
But right, Nicku, let's go to that, right? Let's go to that. So if there's a kudi with adde kapde on, addi nangi, dancing to a video, not even saying anything, dancing to a video, and she's very popular, and I can think of 2 or 3 that come to mind, yeah? Right, initially, right, come to mind, and she's popular. This is the counter argument. Is it her fault for attracting fame by doing that? Yeah. Or is it the bukke bande who are clicking the likes and all looking? Because I can't see women liking that, or kids liking it, but I can see young adolescent boys and bande who got a spare 5 minutes around about this sort of time, and the internet they better on that ticking like that. So do you blame the audience or do you blame the person for playing to the audience?
It's the algorithm. And I'll explain this as well. So I'm not justifying any bit. I'm just giving giving you an argument on it. So I still find the concept of a selfie ridiculous. So I find it really, for some reason, I was vain as a kid and stuff, and then like even now, like if I take a selfie, I find it. Or I see someone else do the
narcissist. You find it being narcissistic.
If there's 2 people, I understand a selfie. If someone just sitting there in a restaurant and taking it, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Anyway, TikTok, you know, these beautify filters that they do. Yeah. TikTok now has basically, so the competition is from social media platforms to actually have the best camera lens that makes somebody look even better. As I'm saying this, Nick was pouting. Yeah. And then
Nick was cleaning his Zeiss lens.
Yeah, he's ready. Yeah. So as they're taking these filters, as a default now, TikTok has made their standard camera lens 2% kind of more beautified filter than a normal camera. So what they're doing is that they're encouraging people then now to start using their platforms because it makes it look better. Then you're going to get Snapchat, who might take you up to 4%. Then you're gonna have this kind of
2-4% ain't enough for us ugly people.
No. Then it goes into the metaverse. Oh, that bakwas. People are getting booked in the metaverse for weddings. I'll tell you that now. Someone's already got married in there last week in the metaverse, even though Facebook's making up.
I always sit there and think that stuff must be for Gore. Up there too smart to fall.
Yeah,
look at these pre-wedding photo shoots in it. Back in the day, no one used to do them. Nowadays, they're flying all over the fucking world to have it done.
You know what? That's personal choice.
That's personal choice. I don't really have a gripe with that.
I just don't. I agree with you. I think the whole point, the whole beauty filter and stuff like that is, you should be happy with how you look and stuff. And I think that puts pressure. That's pressure. That puts pressure on a guy or a girl. Look a certain way to fit for social media, and I think that puts too much pressure. There's one girl, I actually did a wedding a few weeks back, and she puts up a lot of, and she's a model, and she puts up a lot of natural photos, and she's got loads of spots on her face, and she's going through and she puts it up to show people and say, look, you know what, you need to talk about it. This is natural. Obviously, she does a nice photos as well, but it's good to put that. Certain people just won't put that side on. And if you see them in real life, you won't even recognize them because they don't look like that filtered.
It's fraud, man. Some people, when you see the beauty stuff, from what they look at, and then at the end of it, when they look like this model, I'm like, is this the same picture? Like, sometimes my missus show me, I'm like, that's fucking fraud. That's why, like geezers, they look exactly the same. Like, I got a McDonald's sign. I've always lived with that. I've accepted that. Everyone.
Where's the McDonald's sign? Where's the McDonald's sign?
So if you look down there, it's just a joint. I can't get the filter.
I thought that was M for Muckan.
Yes. I love it.
No, I think, you could talk about it. Back in the day, we wouldn't talk about certain stuff. You'd be embarrassed. But sometimes I'll be putting my hair on my social media. I don't You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's our choice. At the end, you know what I mean? But what I want to do, or what I don't understand, is why you have to put that 2% on TikTok and 4% on Snapchat if it does happen one day. That's putting too much pressure on people to look good all the time, and you shouldn't need to do that. You should feel happy with what you're doing. You know what I mean? But
I also think so. Like sometimes if I have done it, like I was talking about selfies, or sometimes I've done it, I've put something on there. Is the pressure in terms of having content, because you need to, if you're like a business and it predominantly works a lot on social media, your algorithm, the way that you sit on certain ways is based on the amount of content that you put out. So if you're putting out daily content, you'll be pushed up the timelines and you'll get more engagement. It's all designed in terms of putting a lot of stuff. Yeah, right. It's all of, and so the reason why TikTok works better in some aspects is because you only need to watch a certain amount of seconds for your video automatically to be sent to someone else. That's why like your views based on reels. I've had to not learn all this, but I've discovered this when I started this out, which was supposed to be just time pass, like blah blah, and now it's kind of built up momentum to a point where I'm like, I might just fuck it all off. I don't really care. But I've learned and I've seen that if you do it this way, or if you put a certain hashtag here, or you put a certain song on, it goes a lot further. I mean, it doesn't calculate in terms of return of investment.
No, but the thing is, look, you clearly enjoy doing this, because you say call it time pass, but this is very social. What we've been doing for the last hour and a bit, it's very social. We're talking. We haven't had 1 second of silence, so enjoy it, and you should just do it. And if algorithms work for you, great. If it doesn't, again, that can add pressure to certain people who are running it as a business because they need to generate revenue.
Look, I tell you one thing that I've realized when I've been doing this is like who's full of shit and who ain't, based on views and shit.
Yeah.
I learned that out very quick, because I was like looking at my numbers kind of stuff and looking at engagement, looking at who's engaging. I'm like, this is
going back to that point. At one point, Ryan's page got suspended by Instagram. Someone reported it as an underage account, even though it says page ran by me, right? Anyway, so in that 1 month that it was shut down, I had no control over it. And someone put up a post, a comment on one of his latest posts saying, Nicku, you little shit. Now you found out that you've been buying fake views or fake followers and stuff. And look, he's on about 70,000. And I can actually say I've not bought a single bundle, but I don't see the point of it. What? And then at the start, he was getting like 40,000 views on a story and like 100,000 views. But now, because there's algorithm stuff, right? Because Instagram want me to pay and push it and stuff, he's probably getting, 10,000? Because he gets 5,000 on a story. So how's it dropped so much, even though he's getting more followers? So I've never understood algorithms like wanting to do. But
there's a distributor in terms of like, not from this. When I send it out, it'll go to a different company or different platform. Now, that platform, for example, wants you to use them and say, we can guarantee you X amount of this, if you use us as it. So all of a sudden, I could see a jump in my views. I'm like, where the fuck does that come from? And it might come from a company, a distributor, who distributes it in, I don't know, some Wazikstan or something like that. And you're like, I ain't got no, there's no this there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it sometimes it's out of your control of where people.
You want everything to be organic, even if you get 10 views or 100 views. It's organic. It's real bond there that are watching it. And you know what you said earlier about people's attention span and seconds of watching a video. Someone said to me a few weeks back in the day, we would happily sit there on our sofa with our parents and watch a Bollywood movie for 3 hours, eyes glued to the TV, even between the adverts and stuff. We'll watch it non-stop. We wouldn't forward it. We just keep it playing, and that's it. Nowadays, we don't have the attention span to watch a 4-second TikTok, and we're swiping because our attention span has changed so much.
It's not changed. It's been programmed that way. So it's
changed program.
We've been programmed that way. That you know,
Harjap, you're a Bollywood fan. I've watched like every single Bollywood movie in the 90s too. Now, back in the day, you wouldn't be sidelined with anything else. Can you watch a Bollywood movie now all the way through without picking up your phone, or with basically picking up your phone in between?
Why you right? Let me tell you something. Why are we even going that far? We're here, right? Sitting here separately, not even near each other, in 3 different rooms. We haven't looked at our phone, If we were sat together in a pub, we would have looked at this about 50 times by now. That tells you that it's about these things have become essential.
What's your daily viewing on your phone now? Be honest. I know.
Man, the 13 on the phone.
Yeah.
I'll tell you straight.
I'm
You know when your mom
7 hours.
You know when your mum and dad used to say, you know when you had a toy and you used to take it everywhere, and your mum and dad go, this is it. This was what they were on about.
Yeah.
So it's
I'm on my phone all the time. The phone all the time. Being on the phone now, I've missed a couple of calls. And I'm one of these OCD bundles that if I've got a message or a WhatsApp or email, I have to clear that notification. I have to see what it is and clear it. I'm not one of those bundles that replies 6 weeks later. I'm quite active. And
I hate that. I hate
that.
No.
That depends if you're famous. That depends if you're famous. Like you think
That must be me as well. That's my pet hate as well.
No, you know what it is? Since I've been on here and I've gone to people, they you put up something ridiculous about, oh yeah, I'll wash my ass with the Robinsons bottle or something. They're like laughing straight away. You reply back, it's like, you want to come on? Completely blank. And then I believe that you get to a certain level where Bundes start thinking, I'm okay to blank this geezer now. I can blank it. And they play along. Honestly, the ghosting thing I've seen is another thing, which is another like a Desi hallmark of like, I've done this, I'm successful now. I can start blanking Bunde. I'm telling you.
I think there's a sort of extent of that where people get comfortable in disrespecting you. But then that's down to you to say.
Oh, look out for a line. People get comfortable in disrespecting you.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Thanks,
so they get comfortable doing that.
Yeah, it makes me feel better.
Because you teach them how to do that. Because what they do, you let them get away with it once or twice, then they think, right, we can do this, and then they get comfortable with disrespecting you. The thing is, like, if a banda's genuinely busy, like I'm genuinely busy guy, yeah. So even now, we got messages from. I'm not stuck at home. I'm in an office, so I've got to drive home yet, right? So with the fact is like with that, like I'm a genuinely busy geezer, and I get a lot of bullshit messages. So I get a lot of bullshit messages. Sir, visa lwa do, sir koi kudi lab do, and all of that. Right? I don't find it in my thing that I have to reply to them sort of messages. I thought jidda da swal puchya udda da jawab honda hai. Yeah.
Fair enough.
And right, and so but then that sometimes I don't pick people's phone calls up. Yeah. Sometimes I maybe if it's not that important, or if it's someone's just like hello, hi, what? This is the tragedy of my job. Yeah, no one ever messages me just to ask how I am. It's always hi, hope you're well. I just wanted to ask, then an immigration question. I swear to God, I'll show you my last 50 messages on WhatsApp or on Facebook or on Twitter, and it's not about. No one's ever asked how well you are. Yeah? And you got to remember that friendship is a two-way street. Yeah, the same people asking me for Salah, saying hey bro, hi bro. Yeah, when I had a heart attack, mate, मैं 10 दिन पहले ही on the hospital bed. और तो सारे किसी का नहीं message आया, ना कोई देखना आया. There wasn't even COVID then. ना कोई देखना आया, right? People were going to the airport to drop their relatives off, my mates, and they couldn't pop down to the hospital near me to check where I was. So for me, these sort of things happen. It separates your close-knit people from the ones that are tiga, acquaintances, and people who you can think, this guy just wants something from me. So that's the tragedy of my life. I never get a message where someone's just, never has anyone asked me, are you right? To tiga? How about this? We should just meet up. Even if people want to meet up, there's a fucking matlab behind it. Like they'll bring their freshie cousin along. Yeah, and I'm like, what the fuck? I thought we were just going out for a drink. Then that freshie cousin pulls out a 300-page file. Because Maria Dekita, and I'm like, fuck, man. Like, so for me,
it is a shame. Matlabi bande basically what you're saying.
That's for me, that's why then I know that this is coming from this person.
No, saying that though.
For a year, all of a sudden I'm the bro. Something must be up.
Bro,
something must be up. Who wants help? Yeah.
Ricky, one time, well, it wasn't one time, it's the only time, when Harjap obviously had the heart attack, me and Taj drove from here to go and see him. And we felt like, because it's not a macho thing to do, yeah. So when we went to the petrol station to buy him something, we looked at it thinking, fucking hell, what did we buy? So I think Taj picked up some fucking grapes, and everything we looked at, we feel it is right for him to eat or drink because of the whole thing. Went to his house, sat down with him, and obviously talked. And obviously, he was going through a bit of a hard time at that point. And we were talking about Sharab and Archie, doing this, and it's all wrong. We should balance it. And as we're leaving, his dad goes, "I'm ridiculous." So he's been preaching to us for the last 2 hours, saying, you know what, balance your sharab, this and that. And then at the end of the day, I go, look, let me do the same. I was like, no, uncle, let's see there. And it's just, again, that's a very disty thing to do. Our parents did the same. You know, it's what we do.
My mum was the same. People were asking, "Tenu heart attack ke hai?" My sugar बहुत high hai. And then what she do? She stick a plate of jalebi in front of her. It's like, "Khao, khao." And I said, "Tu ena nu karna."
You should have got the Lucozade bottle. You should have got Lucozade.
What they bought me some full. You bought me some flowers, did you?
Fuck you, man.
And I was just looking at him
and
thinking,
that's weird.
What has happened?
When we go to there, we take a bottle of Jameson or Bell's or famous. And
I was just looking at him and I thought, these lot have suffered more from the heart attack than I have.
No, I like I said it when we did our kind of episode where, you know, you had that 20-minute kind of, it was the longest WhatsApp message I ever had forwarded on, and it was just you on the bed just going full through it. It was like, fucking hell, Harjap, man, Harjap. How close is that?
Yeah.
And I think for the feedback I got was like, that was one video. It's a long ass video, but everyone watched every second of it.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to see because it was all sort of rang true. And the only reason I'd done it was I was still so much in shock, and all of that was on my head. Yeah. All of that, which I said in that video, that was all in me. If I didn't get that out, that would still be in me, and anything in you eats away inside you.
Fair point.
I thought, and the other thing I thought was, if that can happen to me, and all I had was like a bit of gas, and I didn't know, then imagine how many other people that can happen to. And sure, like that, a lot of people watched that video. I had a message after, about 3 weeks message after that. They go, we were coming back from a dad at Bandani's pub. We come back from a pub with Bandani's dad. And he goes, my dad kept on saying, "Thoda gas, yeah, pain, yeah." Huh? He goes, we remembered your video. I took him to the hospital. Turns out he was fucking having a heart attack.
Wow.
Because they stented him there and then, and he goes, saved his life. And I had a lot of messages. And then I had the opposite messages as well. I had a message from one girl. She goes, you were lucky. She goes, my brother had that sort of pain. And the hospital said, wait in the waiting room or waiting room. And so he didn't make it to that stage. And so I had a lot of, sort of mixed things.
A lot of emotion there.
Wow, bro, that was pure emotion. That video was all my emotion.
But that emotion saved someone's life. That emotion saves somebody's life, and but then it might save somebody's life in the future as well. So it's a good thing.
The social media for the power of good is also good. It's not just
social media is wicked. Don't get me wrong. Social media is a brilliant place to laugh. It's social. You get to find out things. You can see things. But the negative of social media also is very, very. It's like one.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous.
That's the clickbait, though. That's the clickbaity stuff, isn't it? Because like you want to see that geezer falling off the bike, breaking his leg. You want to see all the carnage as well at the same time.
Well, people have committed suicide because of social media.
Yeah, of course. But then it's what's that? I don't watch these reality shows where they're all looking good and stuff. And then he won it, and then he got depressed and he committed suicide. I can't remember what program it was. And I think that's only because of social media. He's looking at his engagement and thinking, why does no one like my stuff? No one engaging, and he starts thinking overdrive.
Bro, why are we sitting here? Why do we look at our social media caring about the comments of people who don't even know us, never spent a day with us? We don't even know their IDs. We don't even know their faces. We don't even know who it is. So with that mantra now, I just block and delete. You
I find it hard to do that though.
I block and delete. I don't engage. My key is I don't engage. So I don't engage. I don't even allow, on my TikToks, I don't even allow comments. Because you know what? Because the way I see it, if you view something of mine and I put it out there, especially advice, that's a privilege. That's not your right to view it. To be a friend of mine on TikTok or on YouTube or a subscriber or a friend on Facebook or a follow on Twitter, that's a privilege that I allow you. If you abuse that privilege, I will take it away.
Yeah.
Quite simple. And if that abuse affects my mental health or is a danger to that, I will take it away. So that's the way I see it. Keep your thought, and you're going to say something bad, keep them in your head. So the thing is, I don't go around making shitty comments on other people's posts, and I don't expect.
You don't expect it back either, yeah.
But yeah, so it's a privilege. If you want to watch my stuff, watch it. If you think you could try and put a shifty little comment on there, you don't even know me, or you're with a fake profile, then F off, mate. You ain't.
Yeah.
You're not you're not the follower I want. And I don't care whether that this is the whole thing. We're so worried about followers. They're not real followers, mate. They're not real followers. Yeah. They're not people who would invite you around for a cup of tea in your house. They're not people who put themselves on the line for you. They're Tamasha watchers. They watch you because you create a Tamasha, or they watch you for some information, or they watch you for a laugh, or they watch you because something, they want to take the mick out of you. Yeah. So they're Tamasha watchers. We've become a society of Tamasha watchers. Why do I care what a Tamasha watcher thinks?
Yeah, fair point.
Okay. So like I'm trying to keep this festive now. I feel depressed enough. So like, so we've got Christmas coming up. Yeah.
I just realised. I remember this is meant to be a Christmas show.
Okay.
Talk about Santa.
Here we go. Okay, here we go. How can Santa empty his sack for you?
How can what? Santa do what?
How can Santa empty his sack for you?
I don't want to know that. I don't know the answer to that.
You need to find Mrs. Santa.
So, what are you expecting over Christmas? And then I'll be professional at this bit. What about next year?
I have no. I want some new socks. I know it sounds really bad, but the other day I had a party socks. Yeah, a really holy sock, and I said to myself, "I work 7 days a week. Why am I wearing party socks?" That's all I'm happy with. Socks.
But you don't even wear. Hang on, you don't even wear them on stage, so you should have loads.
Now, you want to wear socks all the time, but. Yesterday, actually, or the day before, holy sock on my left, freaking little GT man, he was just hanging out by himself. And I'd be happy with socks if you are buying.
You need a new trampoline. I saw it flying over.
He came back.
Did you see that, Harjap?
Right.
He had a trampoline. He had a trampoline in his garden. He took a picture of it, and he was in like someone else's bloody kit by the looks of it.
It jumped over the back of my garden, and my garden's quite long. He went all the way to the back, jumped over, went all the way to the end. And so my dad found it, and there's a check. There's 3 kore. One of them was coming towards us, and we shit ourselves and we turned back around. Next day, I found out he owns those horses. I rang her, Jackie, and she goes, "Was it the one with the blue chugga?" I goes, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh yeah, he's a nosy one. We call him Boss." I goes, "What time are you coming tomorrow? We'll put all 3 of them to the side." I went back. And it's so heavy. I was grabbing like this. Isn't that scene from Mother India?
Yeah.
Where she's
with the plow.
Yeah, with the plow. And I put that song in the background. And I was really surprised, because I know my Bollywood from back in the day, yeah. I was really surprised how many people that follow me knew that scene as well, and the song.
It's an iconic scene. It's
iconic, but not in this generation, not in this new generation of Instagram and stuff that you'd expect people to know Mother India and that scene where she goes, you know what I mean? And I made a bit of a joke about it, but we got the trampoline back.
See, that's something I do. My childhood, I remember I had some good points of my childhood, and a lot of it was watching Hindi films.
Yeah.
So now with my kids, so Kushi only watches like 90s Bollywood films. And the same ones, like, so I was having a go at the other day. I said, why do you only watch the same 4 or 5 films?
Maine Pyar Kiya.
Maine Pyar Kiya, Hum Saath Saath Hain, Dil To Pagal Hai, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. I said, you just watch these ones. You haven't watched any modern ones. You don't want to watch any modern films and all that. Like she doesn't really like the ones. I used to like the masala ones, the funny ones.
Has she seen Judai?
No, she hasn't. Well, she might have done. She might have done.
She sells a hospital next thing.
Yeah, she might have done. She and she watches she watches all them 90 songs. And I was.
It's good though.
I was explaining the other day. She knows like who Sunil Shetty is, Madhuri is, and all that. And I was talking about it with another one. He goes, "You're lucky your kid knows who Sunil Shetty is." He goes, "Mine wouldn't." Knows who
yeah.
Sunil Shetty is.
So I don't know how he ever made it an actor.
Yeah.
I don't even watch any Bollywood, man. Honestly.
I grew up on Bollywood. I think a lot of Wolverhampton grew up on Bollywood. I met a couple of people from I know Andy. Andy's a big Bollywood fan. So
mate, we all are. And
Jazz Dio. He's another one. He loves his Bollywood.
It just costs us £1. We go to Dudley Road, go to Kalar Video, and get a video. We come home, finish it, and then go back, and you get that. And if you're 1 day late, they charge you another £1 and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I remember all those, and you just been a brown lafafa. They used to fold up the VHS. You take it and watch it. And back then, you'd watch all the film, like I say, go through it, and it'd just be good times. Because back then, we didn't have Sky TV. We didn't have the amount of stuff that we can do in this day and age. And you just enjoy it. And
do you know what we need to do? We know what we need to do. We need to do a Bollywood quiz night.
Yeah, sick.
You need to do it
in a pub. Bollywood quiz night, like properly done, like a quiz night. Bollywood.
It'll only be me and you there.
No, we'll get loads.
You should do a Bollywood. You should do a Bollywood podcast.
We've got the megastars.
You'd be killing it, man.
You know, Ricky, when Shri Devi, when she died,
Yeah,
the
yeah, I
night
know
she
that one,
died.
yeah.
We was having a session on Bath Road. Is me
After a certain infamous incident.
No, then that's another time.
Was that another time?
It was a day where you had
Oh,
the
yeah,
part.
yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't make it to the part, and I got to say, I just had to go, yeah, and you came, and you had your brother-in-laws, I think, would you?
Yeah, and H. Dummy was there.
H. Dummy was there,
Yeah.
Bali Honey and my cousin Billa, and we sat there, and all these clocked it. Again, look, they only worked it out. We was all sitting there having a laugh, but then someone must have checked their phone to find out David died, and going back to that point when you're socially sitting in a social circle and someone still picks up the phone, we found out David died. And I remember that night, we was getting pissed and singing David songs.
I was going to say, roll up there.
I don't know.
We had another night. So our sessions usually end up in Bollywood songs. So they're defined. And people who know me on Facebook know that when I get drunk,
you put your play. Yeah, he's been.
In the morning, their feed is like, okay, he was drunk last night.
Yeah.
But we've had another session, me and Nicku, where we've ended up with a tribute to Madhuri, and we've ended up doing Janne ke khet mein dance.
So see that's what you're talking. If you film that and you put that on TikTok, that's how you get your views.
Yeah. If me and Nicku did a Janne ke khet mein dance like synchronized or Shrabbi one, we'd get so many views, wouldn't we?
Yeah, but that's what the kids, the conversation. You say, "Oh yeah, your dad was an idiot. Look at this."
They're going to say your dad's a legend.
Yeah, depends on the time, innit? Depends on how the kids are at the time. But yeah, so
going back to what I love Bollywood. Like I love Bollywood from the 80s, mid 80s to just 2005 maybe. These other days. After that, I gave up. I don't watch any of the Bollywood nowadays. I don't even know what films are coming out, what songs are hits, and all the rest. I don't bother because it's all changed. But back then, I think it was brilliant. Bollywood films are brilliant.
All the Bollywood songs now are the same. They're all the sort of same singers. My real singers were like Kishore, Rafi, and then when you like Sonu Nigam, Kumar Sanu. Everyone knows I'm the biggest Kumar Sanu fan ever. So when he did the 2 concerts in London and Birmingham, so Movie Box did them. So then I phoned them up. I phoned up ADH and I said, "Mainu nahi pata. Right, if you ever any free hosting ki tiya, all the gigs, like Booth Seala and blah blah and all this Cherry Man and all that." And I said, "You got to do one thing for me. Both the shows, I want front row seats." And he arranged it. Good lad, props to him. He arranged front row seats, and I was sitting there, front row seat. And I remember the first gig I went to, so I got drunk there at Kumar Sanu, and he was asking me what songs were, and I said, "You got to sing that Tumse milne ko dil karta."
Is that your favorite Kumar Sanu song then?
Maybe one of them, but not.
Mine is from the film Dilwale, Jeeta Tha Jiske Liye. I love that song. I can listen to that over and over again.
It's a depressing song, man.
It's such a depressing song, but I love it.
This is Christmas.
Sorry, what can Santa empty for you? Sorry, what was that?
No. I'm talking about depressing songs. We're going back there again.
Yeah. So when I went to the Birmingham gig and I was at the front row again, he looked at me and he goes, "I remember you," in a way to say, "Tu kal khap pai si." But it was the most fun ever. Like I had a gig, a Kumar Sanu one, and to me it was better than a Diljit gig. It was to me better than a gig like that because it's something I could sit with my daughter and my wife and my family, and I could enjoy that. And amazing, man. So I missed out on Sonu Nigam this year. I missed out on Shan as well. I really wanted to go to both of them, but they're the sort of my sort of singers, Udit Narayan and all that. So I love it when they come on them singing shows, and I love the banter between them. They're my singers. I'm not a great fan of the new like Arijits and all of that. Jubilee.
I mean, look,
they've got their own
nice
style. But for me,
it's not the same. But then you remember certain songs take you back at a time in your life, and so you listen to a certain song, you remember that.
Happiness.
Yeah, that's the right word, happiness. And I love that shit. I love throwbacks. I love memories. I love going back to when I was a kid, and it just brings so much. And life was different back then, innit? Don't get me wrong, life is amazing now. And going back to the depressing songs, all I listen to is depressing songs. But I'm still
married. That's because you're married.
Happiest bunda you'll ever meet. I've always got a song.
All the happy songs you used to listen to was when you were single. And your happiest times are when you were single. And it's like she does. It's true. Mine are. And I know my wife won't watch this, so that's why I'm saying it. But and all the dookie times, think about it, it's after marriage. Going only we know. It doesn't matter. Don't have to get remarried.
Show this to that geezer who delayed his wedding 3 times. Trust me, he'll change his mind.
Man. I hope that his wedding goes ahead.
Okay, listen, I'm going to try and bring this to a close. So, next year, what's your plans, guys? What do you kind of envisage, and what's your aspirations?
For me, like, I'll tell you what my next year plans are. I've got a Bollywood film, Punjabi film already shot, waiting to be released with Jimmy Shergill.
Smash.
So that's good, right? I've got an offer to do another one, so I'm going to try and get into more Punjabi films. But the cinema at the moment is absolutely shite industry. So everything's Netflix and Amazon and all of this sort of stuff. So everyone's moving out of the whole Punjabi film game. And if even a Punjabi film's released recently, they haven't done well because theatres aren't full. People are afraid to go to the cinema. Other than that, I just do what I do every year. I might do a bit of hosting. I've been offered to host a few events. So I might do that. And mate, shall I tell you what the most thing is? I'm watching my kids grow. Right, they're doing another year, watching my kids grow, getting to see that sort of stuff side of things. For me, that is the main aim now. That is the main ambition, to live long enough to see my kids settled. Nothing else matters, man. Trust me. When you've been like 2 seconds away from death, everything. All these big houses, cars, watches, and all that, they don't mean shit, mate. So to me, it doesn't mean that much, to do that. And for me, it's about, don't get me wrong, I've got everything that I need in life, and I can get a lot more. Yeah. So, but I don't need to go out and show that off and that I've got this and that, and I've got this many properties and this and that and that. I'm happy living with my mum and dad, living with my kids. And for me, that's the main thing. The main thing now is just to be a lot more family orientated. When I die, I don't want my kids to say he should have spent more time with us. On Facebook, what's the biggest status you see sort of regret when someone dies, isn't it? It's always like, I wish I could have spent more time with dad, or I wish my dad was here. I wish I could have spent more time with my mum. Hannah, I really ignored her. I don't want my kids to ever write that status. I want them to say, yeah, he was around, he did what he could for us. And regardless, we're working people, sare kam karde hai, and we work unsociable hours as well. Yeah, and you especially, Nicku. Jira free time tenu hona chahiye. You always, it's your job, Hannah. But then I suppose during the week, maybe in the daytime, but you've got another job as well, so it doesn't right really. So
to be fair, I am spending a lot more time with my kids.
Maybe the videos help you. That helps you do that, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, even videos aside, like next year, my wife, like, even COVID, we was meant to go to Disneyland for 2 weeks, and my missus says, look, you'll be gigging all year round. This is our time with the kids. They're going to grow up, and we're not going to get that time back. And this is bang in the middle of wedding season. And I said, okay, we'll do it. So I didn't take any work on them, but obviously COVID kicked in. 2021 was a whole different ball game. But then next year, July, we're looking forward to now. Hopefully, touch wood, it all goes ahead and stuff. But what you said, Harjap, it makes sense now, because we are working rats with around the clock, 7 days a week, especially myself, 7 days a week, very unsociable hours. But I am spending a lot more time with the kids. I would put, give them a bath. I would spend time trying to put them to bed. They'll jump into my bed in the middle of the night and stuff. Yeah, but I actually secretly like that as well. I love the fact that they're around me, and they're at a age where they still say daddy. I like the fact that they don't call me dad, they call me daddy. I like the fact that they tell me that they love me. Daddy, I love you too, all that kind of stuff. Because it gets to a certain age, they'll stop doing that. So at this moment in time, I'm trying to enjoy that. And going back to your point, what's my thing that I want to achieve for next year? And I think, to be fair, like Harjap said, I feel like I've got everything. Does that make sense? If I do even bigger and better next year, great. But my ambition is just carry on doing what I'm doing at the moment as well. It's working, touch wood, and happiness. And I put the status, and I put the same status quite a bit. Materialistic things only give you temporary happiness. Not family, they give you permanent. And that's the most important thing that keep around. You try to do as much as you can. We live in a world where we have to work, and we work even more because we want to give them better things in life. But what's most important thing in life? It's time, innit? You can't buy that. It's there.
My favourite quote, and which one that I put up a lot, is Bob Marley's quote, and he goes, "Some people are so poor, all they've got is money." And I think that's really sort of kicked in. I don't want to be like, all I've got is money. So, for me, there's nothing. Money comes and goes, mate. You've seen me on nights out, mate. I'll go out and do $2,000 here, $3,000 there. I've never given, book the suites and all that. I've never cared about money, because easy come, easy go, right? So for that, it's always about, for me, it's family. For me, it's family.
And respect. What about you, Ricky?
Well, for next year,
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit of what you guys have said, to be honest, is one of the reasons why I kind of walked away from that kind of whole wedding scene and stuff, was because I was missing the kids, and I needed to be around them, and I don't want them ever to turn around and say to me, "Oh, you should," like, they would never say that, but you just know whether you've made the effort or not, and I didn't want them to have that as a potential excuse. And then also I just kind of finding little things that make me happy, really just kind of plod on. So like things like this, the podcast, it really, I find it enjoyable in terms of what I do. I've got no competition with anyone, because I don't, there's roti for everyone in any industry what they do. So I don't, I don't get paid for this or nothing. So hopefully, if this goes a little bit better
Netflix
on it,
Netflix next year.
Nah, I can't be on there, man. No, but it's just generally that if I see other people doing well, it makes me happy, know. And I think it's funny, it's funny because the first episode I did with Harjap, he said something, and I kind of almost consciously try not to repeat it everything, which is, people have made mistakes in their life, and you always do your things, and you're going to make more. But if you don't grow from that, and you're still the same banda as you was last year or 2 years or 5-10 years ago, and your opinions don't change, I think you're in trouble. And you have got the right to change your mind, because in this day, if you say something, that means that's it, 100%. That's what you believe in, and people have taken away the right for you to change your mind and think, actually, got that wrong. You're right. I'm going to just try and go down this particular other avenue. And that's been the big thing in terms of
growth.
Growing.
Life is about growth.
Yeah, that's it. So I put that as a clip.
I stopped at 5'5". You guys are probably a little bit taller than me, but you know what? It's all good.
Yeah, I'm 5'5". Yeah, no, isn't that? That's it, right. All right, there, guys. Really appreciate it, man. I know this is kind of everything bought in. We've smashed nearly 2 hours, just under.
But I really like
hour and 3/4. Yeah, exactly.
Felt like we're having a session, but we're at the drink.
It's like Zoom parties, lockdown Zoom parties. Yeah. It's been good to talk, man. It's been really interesting.
This was a prop, by the way. There was Barney in it. So
Nicku, at the back behind you.
Yeah.
Is that a painting?
That's the family, isn't it?
It's my daughter and my son, and I've just got a collage of all their best attributes. Like what they're
that was Shah Rukh Khan at the top.
It looked like a Bollywood film.
Yeah. I thought it was like an Amitabh Bachchan, Diwar sort of poster. At the back, and I thought, wicked, man.
Can you still hear me, see me?
It's just I can see it. It looks like, is that Inquisitive has done that? It looks like that.
Maybe I should have done that.
Oh, especially.
Yeah, it's good, that is. Who done that?
It's a guy from Bedford, Luton. Oh, guys,
yeah. All right, then, guys. Yeah. So there's going to be two versions. There's going to be the director's cut, and there's going to be the normal cut. Yeah. So I'll end this now. But thank you, guys.
Thanks for having us, man. It's been fun.
That's been good. It's been quite unloading.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Man halka ho janda.
Yeah. Harjap, you need to get home, mate. It's 10:20.
Yeah, I know. No. 9:10.
Oh, I did. We're gonna go.